People. Let me tell you, the amount of people coming off the bench and the amount of time that I had to spend looking at footage was a little bit challenging. I ain't say extremely challenging, but we got some people on the roster that I have not seen in quite some time. And yeah, we got to get into it. So let's run it.
Don't forget now it's the banger.
Yo, what's poppin' in the streets? I believe, therefore I'm KingSylar. Hope you're doing all right. It's been a little bit of a minute, but we're here. It's been a while since we've done some predictions, some battle predictions, but we got a pretty good session coming up and some pretty good reviews and some opinions that I'm going to give you guys in regards to how I see these battles are going to go. It took me a little bit of time to get this up and running. Finally got the camera up and running. Been stressing out trying to get that session out for the last 3 days. Premiere Pro was giving me the runaround, but for all my editors, you know exactly what that is. But y'all don't care about that. You're here to hear me talk about these battle reviews, you know, whether that be in a positive or negative way. But before anything else, please make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. Any support helps bring more attention to the channel. I'm trying to reach my goal of 1K before the summer. I think we got 3 months before that happens. We're in the middle of April, so that means we got May, June. We'll take that back. You got 2 months. Help your boy out, please. I'm gonna put in the work. I just need you to support me and share the content. That's all I need. And you know, hey, whether you like the content, whether you don't like it, that's perfectly fine. I don't care. If you hate it, leave a comment. You know, I can smell the group chats and the comments and, you know, your opinions bubbling right now. Your hate is just, it's distinctive. I can smell it all the way here. But hey, that's fine, because you can comment, you can be upset, you can even hop on a live stream, but you're gonna do everything but stand on business. And that's okay, because that's probably what some of you guys are built to do. It's just simply, you know, backdoor and hate on people that are doing. But it's cool. But yeah, we're here for it. So again, subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know. I would rather really know your opinion. And most importantly, this is just my opinion. It's not ironclad. It's not concrete. It's not final in any capacity. This is just my observation and just me making analysis as far as how I think these battles are going to go based off of what I'm seeing in the present moment and what I've seen historically. So let's go ahead and get started. But first and foremost, in a humorous way, God dog it, do I hate the name of this session. Humorously, but seriously. Shouts out to Bill throwing this session. Obviously, you know, people are getting ramped up. They are excited for this, but God dog it, do I hate this name. Who's really Southside? Like, geez, if you lose, are you less Southside? Like, I mean, what is, I mean, does all your work go out the window? Like, what happens? Like, such a stressful title. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm just like, who's really Southside, brother? I've been paying taxes here for the last 20 years of my life. What are we talking about? I'm definitely Southside. Like, I'm not finna entertain this. The disrespect is appalling. But hey, whatever it is, what it is, let's should have just called it the Wasteland session. I would have accepted that. But who's really Southside? Good heavens. All right, but neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and get into it. So we're gonna do these first night battles. Going to be hosted by the Divergent Session. Now, from what I've been told, these battles are going to be outside. So these are going to be street battles. So that's the first thing I want to say. When it comes to street battles, obviously that's going to play a particular factor, and that does factor into my opinion in regards to these battles. So I just want to make that abundantly clear. There's a clear distinction between street and stage or session. Obviously, street, it's much more raw. There's an expectation there. It's more grittier. You do not have the mood, lighting, and the space to be theatrical. You can, but it doesn't always show up. The same way that it's kind of dark outside with low lighting setting, things of that nature, you're not going to have that aesthetic for people to be able to see details. They're not going to be calm or sitting down to things of that nature. They're going to expect a fight, a street fight. I mean, these are street battles, for God's sake. So, yeah, just is what it is. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So, first battle we have coming up off the ropes, we got Detour versus Twin Raiden. We got Detour being Buck, concept and character heavy. And then we have his opponent, Twin Raiden, Buck, power base, concept, and character heavy. One also little note. You might hear me say Buck a lot. Obviously, I know everybody's Buck. It is the essence of Crump. It is the same way as far as in terms of being funky, or having some level of funk. You might see that in popping a lot or locking. I understand that. But some people are just, Buck obviously is the essence, and character-wise, or I would say not character-wise, but more so, generally speaking, a lot of people that are more prone to being Buck, or a lot of heavy emphasis on being Buck, they tend to be a little bit more literal or direct as far as their approach to Crump. They're not like super conceptual or abstract things of that nature, but their movements are just simply raw in that nature. So just putting that out there. But looking at this battle, just full transparency, I think this battle is pretty clear. No disrespect to Detour, but Twin Raiden, aka Tank, or CJ for some of y'all that may or may not know, has been around for a very, very long time. I've been in Crump for going on 18 years, or 18 years, whatever the case may be. I'm forgetting at this particular moment, but he's been around just as long as I have. Detour is very much a part of this new generation that came to the door about a year ago. And I think he's only been in Crump for about a year, maybe a couple of months. He's going to HQ, is definitely one of Pun's students, so I definitely don't sleep on him or think he's going to bring a fight. I'm just simply saying that I think the skill gap is pretty wide. And that's no disrespect to Detour, but just full transparency. When we see a gap this large, there's no reason that Twin Raiden should lose this battle, respectfully. So with that being said, and not to mention, Twin Raiden has been around the block a lot. He's had stage battles, session battles, and street battles. And this kind of might be up his wheelhouse because, again, Twin Raiden is very power-based, very in-your-face. So it's probably working his favor. So with that being said, I'm going Twin Raiden for the win. Next battle we got coming up, we have U-Law versus Peacekeeper. U-Law being Buck, Caddy, and concept heavy, known for a few hat tricks here and there as well. Then we have Peacekeeper, who is Buck, style, and concept heavy. This one's an interesting one because as far as like directly, I have not seen these two dance. I haven't seen Peacekeeper dance in front of me or consistently at that pace in about 5 years. I'm just being respectful. And that's not to say for the people that are in Mississippi and stuff like that, I have not directly seen him. As far as consistently, like, okay, you're battling here, like as far as like you're on a stage this week, and then you're at a session, maybe 2 weeks after that, and then maybe at another event or a tournament, so on and so forth. I ain't seen that. That's what I'm trying to get across. U-Law, I haven't seen in over a year dance. That's not to say that these people are inactive and they're not dancing. Like I said, as far as in terms of to U-Law, I just ain't seen this brother in quite some time. So it's kind of a tough one for me. And again, in the basis of as far as in terms of this being on the street. So in my personal opinion, I'm going to edge this one to U-Law because I think he brings a little bit more versatility to the battle. Peacekeeper, again, is not to say that he can't sweep this. Again, as far as in terms of he does have the versatility edge as far as movement quality, that can potentially play a factor. And again, this is a street. But I'm just simply going based off of what I've seen over longevity of time, and then simply what U-Law brings to the table. It's not that he can't pull one out the bag and potentially hit Peacekeeper with a hat move and get him up out of there. So, and from what I've been told, it's only 2 rounds, so there ain't gonna be this longevity of just like 5 or 6 rounds until somebody just passes out when they're not doing that. So, I'm gonna give the edge to U-Law. Next battle we got coming up is Imbolt versus Chef. Imbolt being very unorthodox, rowdy, character and concept heavy, and then we have Chef, who is Buck, rowdy, material, and concept heavy. Now this is another battle that they're literally there's literally over 10 years, 15 years worth of experience between these two. As far as gap, excuse me. I think this one's pretty clear as well. Respectfully, Imbolt should win this battle. Now, the reason I use the keyword should, I will definitely give props to Chef because it's April now. We took a break from New Era and in the fall, so around like October, November or so. Since then, he had already had 3 battles that he had from the middle of the summer up until November. Most rookies don't really battle that often, but I've also seen him since then, the break as well, have I think like 2 of the battles, and he's hopped in 2 tournaments as well. So he's definitely been super active. With respect to Imbolt, I have not seen him active in over 2 years. I know he came to a session at the beginning of 2020, let's see, it's 2026, so 2024 he came to a session, New Era session, but outside of that, consistently, I have not seen him. Now, I will definitely give Chef is one of those ones to where he's kind of like a sponge. He picks up Crump very quickly as far as the mechanics of it, and is definitely consistent as far as in terms of being a student. He's, again, another one of Pun's students that goes to HQ every Tuesday. Big shouts out to Pun for ushering in this new generation of Crump. So I don't think that he's somebody that Imbolt should slack on. I don't think we'll have any issues as far as in terms of stamina, versatility of movement, which I do like that because sometimes that does create a little bit of an edge. You know, if one person can't move as good as the other, we're not going to have to worry about none of that. I do know that Chef, again, is very much like, you know, he's buck and he's a little street too, you know, very can kind of get in your face and stuff like that. He shares that aspect like most very brash or smash mouth dancers. So it's going to be great. So the thing that I would definitely say is going to play a factor here is the approach that both of these individuals can take. Obviously, Imbolt is very unorthodox, as we said, and very character based in a lot of ways, and he is going to stick to whatever he wants to do as far as his game plan. But I think the only window that could potentially be left open is if he takes that too far, meaning that if he does not go on the offensive and does not have a productive round, it can be stolen by him from Chef, because again, Chef is no slouch. He is very good as far as in terms of stamina, maintaining pace, just that fundamental understanding as far as Crump, but he still learning, still getting very new. I think he's only about 6, definitely under 8 months as far as in terms of Crump. He hasn't been around as Detour or some of the other cats from this generation. So it's definitely one that can be stolen if Imbolt leaves the door open for that. So, but with all that being said, again, respect to both, but the experience gap is pretty damn wide. So I think I'm going to go in favor of Imbolt for this battle. Next battle we got, not much of an experience gap between these two. We have Mr. Wild versus Isis. Now, Mr. Wild being live, rowdy, concept, and combo heavy. And then we have Isis being abstract, rowdy, concept, and character heavy. Not too much of a distance between these two as far as in terms of, as I've said, years of experience, but definitely still different generation. I think there's probably at least like maybe 8 or 9 years between them. But with that being said, looking at this particular battle, I am going to go in favor of Mr. Wow. I think Mr. Wow is somebody that this is a style clash battle. And I'm going with Mr. Wow because obviously for experience, and I think that he is going to have the adaptation. He knows how to adapt better. He's been on stages, been in street battles, been, across the nation as far as in terms of battles. And I don't think with respect that he is going to slack on Isis. Now, the interesting part about Isis is that Isis is very much I'm going to stick to my game plan. She is what I like to call a slow roaster. Now, most people may or may not understand that concept, but what I mean by that is she is somebody that is going to develop her round the way she wants to, and she's going to simply just, I guess for lack of better words, it's just going to jab. Just keep jabbing you throughout the entire fight. jab. You may get hit with a body shot or whatever the case may be every now and then, but she's not going to throw like super haymakers. Mr. Wow is somebody who will throw a lot of haymakers. Going to hit you with a combo, maybe hit you with this move, maybe get live on you, which does create a big opportunity for him to win, for maybe him to hit the gas when he comes out the gate, and could potentially outpace Isis so much that she cannot keep up. But if it doesn't go the way he wants it to, or maybe his round doesn't develop the way it's supposed to, or he doesn't pace or whatever the case may be, Isis has never been somebody that I've seen show up to a battle to where she does not control her pace as far as how she's going to approach a battle. So that's why I say she's a slow roaster. Now, is she going to get live? Or she can, but it's not her calling card to get out there and just instantly get live or hit you with a bunch of combos or just be rowdy and rambunctious. That is not her go-to. Is she rowdy in her own way? Absolutely. But her approach as far as like how she uses concepts, her timing, she has a lot of texture when she moves, very much like, loves to like have a lot of texture in her arms and stuff like that. Her round is going to develop at the pace she wants it to. Anybody that has seen her knows exactly what I'm talking about. So there's a possibility there that maybe she catches a moment, puts a little gasoline on that mug, and then eventually just starts catching up Mr. Wow. Who knows? There's a possibility for that. Like we're not going to slack on that. Like that's not a possibility. So, but I think that will be an uphill battle for her because again, we are very much talking about Mr. Wow, who is very much a seasoned veteran when it comes to this Crump. So, with all that being said, I'm going to go in favor of Mr. Wow. All right, and then my last battle for Friday, we have C4 versus Judge. Ah, yes. Battle of the OGs, battle of the veterans. And they're all in the same fam. They're all under solo, which is interesting. Fam clash. All right, C4 being technical, caddy, combo heavy, and material heavy. And then we have Judge, who's technical, rowdy, combo heavy, and material heavy. So we're, obviously, as you can see, there are a lot of similarities with both of these individuals. Now, are they different? Yes, because their approach to how they build their rounds is very different, and I think a little bit of the essence as far as in terms of where these guys live at and the state of Crump, as far as like their energy levels. C4 I think goes much more for the caddy buck approach, as far as like he's going to give you some swag, give you a little sauce, in his moves and stuff like that, like how he accents his moves once they're done. It's much more of a catty or maybe cocky approach to it. Obviously, Judge, on the other hand, is much more rowdy. He gonna give you a little cattiness too, but I believe he's a little bit more rambunctious and can be a little bit more brash or kind of like in your face approach to a lot of his movements, and can get live as well. So I think this is definitely a tough battle as far as like looking at it comparison wise. I think I'm gonna edge it to Judge. Now, the big factor for me, and I don't say this trying to be funny or goofy or condescending in any way, I think this battle is going to come down to pacing and stamina. The reason why I say that, and it's only because I've had conversations with said individuals and seen them. I know these two individuals are not going to get out there and give us 3-minute rounds. They're not going to do that. And again, we're in the street. As I've said before, this isn't a thing that, they can get out there and be theatrical and be super intricate as far as in terms of trying to set an ambiance for this particular battle. It's a street battle. So this is very much going to be a battle of dominance, like I said, which usually happens in street battles. So a lot of times, if you're not on the offensive, you're not on the attack, it's going to look like you're losing. It's just the essence of the street. It's a street fight. It's not supposed to be clean. It's not supposed to be pretty. It's supposed to be raw and gritty. But I know both of these individuals, even if they were on stage, they're not going to build these 3-minute theatrical rounds. That's just not their approach. I think it is going to come down to how they build them and as far as their pacing. Neither one of these guys, do a lot of like super movements as far as in terms like, they can move, but we're not talking about like some young cat that's just going to be bouncing off the ground and doing flips and things of that nature. These guys are very much going to stick to their game plan, what they prepared, and their approach, and they may even show a high level of adaptation as far as like rebuttaling something that the opponent did the previous round. It's definitely possible. So, but with that being said, I'm going to go with Judge, only because I do believe that he has a little bit more versatility in as far as approach to how he approaches his round. And I do say that in regards to adding on as well. He does play with character a lot. Now, I remember, I believe it about 2-3 years ago when he battled Tiny Eyes. He had kind of like the Slipknot mask, and he took that approach to the battle. I'm not particularly sure what style that was, or maybe if he pulls that out and then brings that to this particular battle, who knows? But I do think that is one thing that we don't necessarily see from C4 is a very strong, heavy character-based approach to battles like that. That's much more on the theatrical side, as far as like embodying like a persona or a particular character. So I'm going to go with Judge in that regard. It's not to say that C4 can't win this battle in any capacity, but I think that there's more room for Judge to adapt and rebuttal and bring something that maybe C4 is not as versatile, or I don't want to say experienced, but just, probably not as versatile with. So in that regards, I'm going to go with Judge for the win for that battle. So that's all we got for the first night at the Divergence session for the Who's Really Southside session. So this is part of the time where we turn the conversation over to you guys, and I would definitely love to know your opinion. Let me know your thoughts. If you agree, if you don't disagree, hey, let me know. I just want to know your opinion and what your thoughts are. That's all I got. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe. Stick around for the next one. We're going to jump right into Saturday. Peace.